Hello everyone and welcome to the Lucid Grind, a series of conversations exploring how digital media can enrich, educate and challenge us in ways that transcend the genesis of the medium as simple entertainment or escapism, in ways that might even surprise and inspire us as consumers and creators alike. Today we're exploring the challenges of building and sustaining an independent and successful online brand whilst concurrently negotiating the turbulence of depression and anxiety and, of course, the role that online cultures and communities play for better or worse in this beautiful mess. We're pulling up a stool with partner Twitch broadcaster and very sunburnt cat owner, Scarlet0se. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, hello. Good to be here.
So Scarlet, for people who've never seen you stream, never seen you do your thing, what is it that you're all about and how long have you been at it?
Well, I originally built my following on Minecraft, but I'm the type of person who, and I was just discussing this on stream like not 20 minutes ago, that I'm the type of person that needs to do something different every 5 years. I don't see myself doing something consistently, even job-wise, for more than 5 years. I need something fresh. I need something new.
Have you found that's like a critical period for you, 5 years? That's oddly specific.
Yeah, it's a pattern I'm noticing. It's like every couple years I feel the need to like reinvent myself somehow, whether it be like a new hairstyle or just getting a different job or trying to find a new direction in life. My most recent one was my recent move to Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
And it's been a great move so far. This has been the most welcoming state I've by far lived in. As
opposed to where have you been previously?
Well, military family. So we've been a little bit all over, but we like to call Texas our home.
Okay.
We settled ultimately in Arizona. Okay. And I was there for years, and I hated it because people are kind of jerks there.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
The heat, I think.
sorry to anyone listening in Arizona. I'm sure you're the exception to the rule. Wow. So we're diving in the deep end today, as we tend to do with this podcast. So you have been suffering from depression, anxiety for pretty much the whole time you've been streaming, correct?
Yes. My depression came out ahead when we actually moved to Arizona when I was like 10 or 11 and the bullying began. I'd always been like an odd kid, but it was like that cute, quirky kid. You know, I had my quirks.
Right.
As one would, being raised by a single mother, you know. But it came to a head after the bullying, and then it manifested severely after age 14 when I had just kind of had enough.
That early.
It's been a constant since then.
So it's not something recent. It's not something that came up after you started streaming. It's something that you had been coping with for a long time before you even decided to get into broadcasting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. So what do you think the greatest hurdles were starting out in this this endeavor of really building? It really is. It's like building something out of nothing, and at least initially having presumably no one to count on but yourself. So what are the real big challenges there as far as you experienced starting out broadcasting?
Well, starting, it was something as simple as I'd always been hanging around in TeamSpeak with my friends because we would always be playing different games, but we would just be chatting in TeamSpeak with each other while playing it. And I loved that. So when Diablo 3 came out, I found Twitch because my friend was like, hey, your gear sucks. This dude's giving away like free gear in his channel here on Twitch. And I'm like, okay. So I made an account, Scarlet0se, and then my friends started streaming like League of Legends and Dota.
Right.
And then jokingly, I was like, I bet I can get more viewers than you. I mean, obviously I won that bet, but but it just started out as me wanting to stream and have people to talk with. In my mind at the time when I started, it wasn't, hey, this could possibly be a job. This could be a thing.
Okay.
It didn't become a thing until my channel started gaining traction where I hit 50 viewers and then 75 and then 100. Right. And then I was making friends with real names at the time, like I Am Spoon. He would raid me all the time. That's when I started experiencing like 200, 400, and then Bacon Donut got big. And I've known Bacon since he had like 30 viewers.
That's awesome.
And he was doing like some obscure mod packs. And then he started rating me, and then a big YouTuber found my channel and gave me a shout out, and then that's when it became like, oh crap, this can be a thing. This is happening.
So you didn't come into it being like, all right, streaming, that's me. I'm gonna, work it all out. Here's my attack plan. I'm gonna do this full time. That didn't happen until quite a way down the track.
Yeah, no, like I didn't even have any emote ideas when I got partnered. Like my slots were empty for so long because I was like, what do I do? What's a thing in my channel? What's my thing?
No, you see, that's always like some of the first advice I hear of people that are getting close to getting partners. It's sort out your emotes, get all that shit sorted. Yeah, so you really weren't too concerned about it. You were just cruising.
Yeah, I was just cruising. I was like dealing with it as it came, and it's been like a learning experience.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's that should be really reassuring, I should say, for anyone who's trying to get into it. I think that they have this perception that like everyone who becomes a Twitch partner is like super organized and like way ahead of the curve, and they've got shit sorted out like months in advance. And
it's such a common mistake. I've seen so many people and so many friends, former friends, like they're not even on Twitch anymore, fail because they think like, oh, if I get this like $300 mic and I have a green screen and I have this professional lighting and this professional camera and I need 3 monitors. I started on 1 monitor and then upgraded to 2.
Right.
And now I have 3 and I'm considering 4. I mean, I have a 4th. I just don't want to plug it in yet.
So just work with what you've got. Just make the most of the resources you have.
I tell so many people that all you really need is good internet. Like you just need 2 upload. Yeah. Because the common mistake people try to do is they try to stream in like 1080p.
Right.
But that limits your viewership because over 60% of viewers on Twitch are mobile and they can't stream.
Over 60%? Is that right?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
They released like statistics 2 years ago with like all of this information for New Year's.
Dang.
And it's crazy because like I tell people constantly, it's like stream in 480. Trust me, especially if you're just doing something like Minecraft where you don't need to worry about the graphics. Where it's not about the graphics.
In 480.
Yeah, because so many people, they just can't watch high def streams.
Okay. All right. Well, did you ever get your Diablo 3 character geared up? Did that happen?
I did. I got way better at Diablo 3. And it's funny because I started with TF2. I streamed a lot of TF2 and then I got the Minecraft bug about like 1 month into streaming and I was like, okay, I'll check out the Minecraft category. And then I saw so much growth because at the time there were so few females in Minecraft that it was very rare. So people would like purposely seek out female casters. And
sure.
I very rarely used my camera at the time.
Right.
Because I don't even remember the reason. I think I just didn't feel like getting gussied up or being judged on how I look because I'm a happy girl. Yeah. And all that stuff. But I just didn't want to deal with it. And I didn't really care. I didn't really care because I think I'm funny off camera. I have some jokes. I can get chuckles. I can do things that make people laugh where you don't need a camera.
Okay.
That's another common mistake. People think they need a camera. I was like, no, you don't. Because the thing is, when you have a camera, you don't have to talk as much. But when you don't have a camera, you have to talk more. You got to draw them in because the average viewer only stays for 2 minutes after they open a new channel.
No, I think that's interesting, and that's something that I've experienced with my own content, is that when you're limited by the resources you have, you need to sort of work a little bit harder with the things that you can do. So like you say, you have to work harder with your voice if you don't have a camera. And I guess it's a good way to like start and kind of practice that that more vocal component of broadcasting, do you think?
Yeah. I tell people automatically that the first thing they should do is pretend they have 1,000 viewers watching, because the most common mistake I see new casters make is they don't talk enough. Right. They wait till someone talks in their chat and then they talk and they respond to them. But with a 30-second delay, like they're probably already gone by the time you respond to them.
Sure. And that should seem like a no-brainer, shouldn't it?
Yeah, but people don't really think. They don't think that you need to, because it's just like, if you want people to come to your channel, then why are you just sitting there playing a game? You can do that off camera.
Yeah,
Right. But just need to talk. Anything, everything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's sound advice. Speaking of talking, you're very, very vocal and very transparent about your own struggles, which I think is really refreshing to see in a public figure. But it seems to me that mental illness is really common, like almost to the point of banality among entertainers, both within the streaming industry and more broadly. So why do you think that this is so pervasive? Is there perhaps something about the life of an entertainer that particularly appeals to people with affective disorders?
I find that a lot of people like myself, because we suffer, we don't want other people to suffer. So we want to bring joy to them in any way we can. And often entertaining is how we do that, because literally I had like 2-3 marks of what I want to do for my career. And that was to make people laugh, make people happy. And I can't remember what the third one was, but it's not that important, but you get the idea. I wanted to do something to help. I wanted to help people. That was it. Because at the time when I started streaming, I was almost a year into my sobriety, because I had suffered from a heroin addiction. And I just Friday was my 5 years.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you. Thank you. And I just wanted to help people. And then at the time I was also in school for psychology, because I figured it's like, okay, I can be an addiction specialist. But then I found Twitch and I was like, this is it.
Wow.
This is what like it hit every mark. I have more friends than I can count now. Like I have so many places I can turn and so many voices to listen to me. And it's an amazing thing. Like, it was a very surreal experience going, yes, this is exactly it. I'm home.
So do you find that while you're helping people, you're sort of, I guess, vicariously meeting needs of your own, that you're sort of being...
Oh, definitely.
I
wish I could say it's selfless, but being open and candid and helping people through that. Like, a big example was, like I said, at the time when I first started streaming, I just under a year sobriety, and I had been extremely open about it at the time. I'm not as open about it as much anymore, because it's, I don't know. But I got a
5 years
message
is a
from
long
someone.
time. You've got to move beyond it eventually, don't you?
I'm a person that has to like move on from things pretty quick. Like, I just got to keep moving.
Yeah.
But a couple months after I had been open about it, somebody sent me an email with a picture of their 1 month chip, with a huge like letter saying, thank you. You were so open about it, and you made me realize that I too can do it.
Oh,
that's what's
fantastic.
Important. Oh, I fucking cried. I bawled my eyes out. I'm a very emotional person. So when I got that, I was just like,
Right. So again, you know, you don't want to sound selfish when you're talking about this kind of stuff, but the thing about being selfless and helping other people, particularly when it's regarding similar issues that you have had or are having, it is very rewarding.
Yes.
So do you think that finding these, I guess, these needs and desires of your own fulfilled, does it help in the management or even the recovery of these conditions? Or is there maybe a risk that it sort of enables and perpetuates you? Like, if you're on stream and you're talking about like depression and anxiety a lot of the time, do you get stuck in a pit?
I don't know. I
Not really?
don't know, because oftentimes when I'm in that pit, I actually don't stream.
Okay.
Because I'm the suffer in silence type, because I don't like to, I'm an empathetic person. So when my friends hurt, I hurt too. When I'm in a room with an anxious person and I already have anxiety, my anxiety like shoots tenfold.
Right. So you get a sort of sympathetic reaction.
Yeah. So when I'm going through that, I don't want to put that on other people.
Okay.
And I guess that's that also like suffering animal syndrome, where they don't want to let people see that they're hurting at the time.
Right.
And maybe also maybe there's a little like, sometimes I just want to sit and squalor, you know?
All right. Well, I think that there's something about this kind of lifestyle as well, where you're constantly being fed like praise and acknowledgement. And given the kind of work you do is presumably securing for you a steady source of this praise and acknowledgement, there can be maybe a risk of becoming like even more hungry and dependent on those things and clinging to them rather than seeking out potentially more healthy and sustainable methods of self-affirmation. Have you ever had problems with that before?
Yeah, actually, it got to the point where I was needing to stream and I was needing to hear that I was a decent person because there were times where I just truthfully didn't believe it.
Hmm.
Like even now, I still don't think I'm a decent person. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm caring. I know that. I'm empathetic. I know that. And, yeah, I have 5 years, but there's that like depression monster in your head that's constantly saying like you're a terrible person, look at these terrible things. So when I do something wrong, I go to hell over it. Like
Right.
it sends me spiraling.
So do you
Um
think that streaming feeds that monster at all? Or have you worked out a way to, I guess, reconcile that?
oh yeah, and like I said, this entire thing's been a learning experience. I've been streaming for 4 years, been partnered for almost 3. Um so I'm at that point where I know what I need to do to take care of me as a streamer and
Hmm.
also take care of my stream.
Okay. All right. That leads into another question, actually. So, obviously, neither of us are psychiatric health professionals. No one
Yeah.
should take our opinions as anything more than anecdotal. But that said, do you have any techniques, any habits, or coping mechanisms, perhaps that you've employed in your daily schedule that makes working easier or more consistent for you in any way?
Um, a lot of it is just getting the energy to start streaming because when you're depressed, like pebbles for other people become boulders for us. So something as simple as getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, putting on a new set of clothes, taking a shower. Not in that order, obviously. um, but just simply starting stream can be hard when you're in that I call them like hills and valleys because right now
Hmm.
I'm on a hill like things are good so I can get out I can get exercise I can hike but now um to kind of help me get to the point of streaming I've developed a network
Hmm.
of support which was a little hard at first when I moved to Seattle because moving in general is stressful but moving in recovery and with depression is even harder. Uh, but building up a support network of people who understand and get it and who can listen even if they don't get it is very, very important, not just as a caster, but as a person
Hmm.
with mental disabilities.
Okay.
Um, and I have that now. And a big part of it is holding myself accountable. Uh, like recently, when I first moved to Seattle, I ended up having a back injury that prevented me from streaming for almost 2 months because I couldn't
Wow.
sit in a chair for more than 20 minutes. I tore
Oh.
the lower triangle muscle in my back,
Oh.
and that was fun. Uh, recently flared up again because while the roommates were all gone to E3, I fell down the stairs.
Oh no. Of course you did.
But it's not as bad, it's just a little achy.
Hmm.
But it's accountability. So I haven't gone to meetings, 12-step meetings.
Hmm.
Um most of the time while I'm here, I just started going now in July when I got here in March and the back problems subsided in May.
Okay.
So I had the little in between, but that's also tied into something that happened right before I moved as well. That severely affected me. I lost a friend to addiction.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that part of the reason why you moved?
No, it had actually just happened right before,
Oh no.
as I was moving, like literally a week before I got into the car and drove up here.
Jeez. So we're talking
It
about
was
that 5 year
circumstantial.
period again. You have this, it's this real repetitive cycle in a way, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
interesting.
Like I
So
said, I that's also another thing to I notice patterns
hmm.
because like with any sickness, there's patterns, there's
Of course.
symptoms when they start coming up. Like um when my depression starts coming up, I start indulging a little bit more in junk food.
Okay.
I seclude myself from people a little bit more. I'll find excuses to not go anywhere.
Right.
Um
So you
I
find you're sort of
will,
preparing for those phases that are coming up. Is that it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So when I start seeing these symptoms, I start actively taking measures to make the fall from the hill to the valley a little softer, thus making it easier to go up to the next hill, as
Right.
it were.
Okay.
Because that
Okay.
valley is going to happen no matter what. Because not only do I have depression, it's unmedicated currently because I don't have insurance. Because
Right.
with sadly being a streamer, they don't really give you much. You're not an actual employee, you're a
No.
partner. So you'd have to get private insurance, which is infinitely more expensive
Mm-hmm.
when you're self-employed.
Mm-hmm. So
So yeah, I'm unmedicated.
So does that help, that sort of way of bracing yourself? You're saying it kind of softens the fall. Does it also have any effect in making the hills larger? Are there things that you do?
Oh,
You've talked about the things that you do to take advantage of, feeling like you've got a depressive episode coming up and preparing to soften that. Are there things that you do when you feel like you're coming out of it to really make the most of that hill and be super productive in your streaming, in your lifestyle in general?
yeah, like for instance, obviously I'm on a hill, so I did 2 back-to-back 14-hour streams.
Great.
Um, Normally when I was depressed, I can't get past like a 4-hour stream. I can't. I feel myself weighing down the energy of my cast, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want that to be perceived to newcomers. I don't want that to be the image they see and the
Okay.
first impression of me, because streaming's all about first impressions, and you get
Yes.
over hundreds of first impressions a day and a chance to really say, this is who I am, this is what I'm about in
Right.
under 2 minutes. So
Yeah,
if
and
that's
you have
what
to
they
be
see,
conscious of
that's what
that all
they're
the
going to
time.
assume your cast is about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, speaking of that image, actually, so I've seen you speaking before about this idea that so many broadcasters perform from behind a mask, right? A sort of facade of
Yes.
always being happy and healthy, and that basically you seem to think that this is no good. That there's it's not something that people should feel compelled to sustain, right?
Yeah, it's very unhealthy. It's speaking of just purely from my experience as an addict of having to lead that double life of pretending everything's okay on the surface when I'm around my
Mm-hmm.
friends and coworkers, and but behind the scenes I'm going through hell.
Right.
But I have to put on a good face, because the truth is no one likes a depressed cast, or no one goes to entertainment to be reminded of the hell that's out there. They go to
Mm-hmm.
entertainment to escape.
Mm-hmm. So why is that
So I
such a
feel,
negative thing to put that mask on? Because I hear a lot of people. I'm playing devil's advocate here, of course, but
yeah,
I hear
yeah.
a lot of people saying about this sort of thing. Just fake it till you make it. And if you keep smiling, if you keep acting happy, if you make your brand about you being bright and happy, and you force yourself to do it, eventually you're going to become that. You obviously don't agree with that?
Yeah, it's simply not the case. I mean, there's a lot of fake it till you make it, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, to be blunt and not just for shock factor here, Anthony was faking it till he make it, and that's the friend that I lost to addiction.
Right.
He pretended everything was fine, and to an addict, especially one that's in recovery, that's dangerous.
Right.
And of course, this is a very extreme example,
Of course.
but it's an example nonetheless. Even myself, the times where I find myself faking it is when I'm the most miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the times when I become completely and candidly honest about what I'm going through to someone else other than myself, is when I can move past that and when I can truly be happy.
Okay. So you think that faking it, like you say, there's in any career, there's a little bit of that having to go on if you're going to get anywhere. But you just think you just have to be really conscious of
Yeah.
it, right? Okay.
Yeah, you got to make sure that you're not, I mean, just like with anything, there's balance in life. You got to find your balance, where if there are some days where you just aren't feeling casting, you got to be honest with yourself, and
Sure.
sometimes maybe be honest with your viewers, because I feel like there's a problem with viewers is that they tend to put us on pedestals, that we're
Mm-hmm.
not real people. Like
Mm-hmm.
on some other level, we're celebrities.
Sure.
Um and thus unreachable or untouchable. But my thing is that my appeal is that I go for the real aspect. I remind them constantly to not do this,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm literally just a person, living, breathing just as you, feeling just as you. I
Mm-hmm.
go through my problems, and I'm open about a lot of my problems. The only problems that I'm not candid about are personal relationships, like with my family or with whoever I'm dating at the time, if
Okay.
I'm dating.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think I agree that wearing a mask, holding up these contrivances, definitely has a chance of being detrimental to the well-being of someone with depression in particular. But at the same time, we tend to feel, most of us at work and in social situations, we have certain obligations, right? I think it's like a
Yeah.
common concern. Perhaps the greatest cause of stress for people with depression, that if they're completely honest about their condition, it's going to close doors for them. Like from my experience, it does
Yeah.
sometimes tend to close doors for you. So if you're having a particularly bad phase and you don't wear your mask, you sort of have to admit to the people around you that there's a good chance that you'll be underperforming and unreliable. So people who are open and honest about suffering mental illness, they tend to have a lot of trouble, finding and keeping jobs and stuff like that. So there must be a little voice somewhere. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but there must be a little voice saying somewhere in the back of your head, who the hell is going to want to subscribe to an unashamedly depressed broadcaster? So how
Oh yeah.
how do you personally, I guess, resolve or reconcile with those kinds of fears and concerns?
Well, like I said, it's just about balance and thing. There's a time and place for really everything. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, if you're too happy, it's too much. If you're too depressed, it's too much. You got to find that in between where I show just enough of myself on stream to let them know, yes, this is my struggle. Like even just turning on the camera today was a struggle for me because I almost didn't because I'm in
Hmm.
so much pain from the hike yesterday, and on top of it, Lady Week just started as well. So I'm
Right,
not feeling great, and I didn't
right,
want to stream today because I also suffer um from PMDD, which means basically most women become bipolar during their
right.
menstruation
Hmm.
with it, and I do have that. And what solves that is birth control, but birth control without uh insurance is like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Oh, that's insane. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's so dumb, but I that's my cross I have to bear. Is what I cope with. I know how to cope with it now,
Okay.
but I'm also 28.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, things were far worse than they were now.
Okay. All right.
But there is balance you gotta find in everything. There's obviously a time and a place for those masks, but you gotta make sure that you're not wearing it too often because that
Right.
also takes a toll. But you also gotta make sure that you're making sure to be honest as
Right.
well in
So I
between
guess
that.
it's not an all or nothing thing. Like you can be honest and candid with your audience without being, uh, I guess overly dramatic or a complete downer. You can sort of
Yeah.
let it sort of
Packaging
drip out.
matters.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you could have like an utter crab give and you get socks for Christmas, but if it's in a gorgeous packaging, you're still gonna be like, okay, they made the effort. I
Scarlet0se,
mean,
everyone. Socks for Christmas.
okay, don't hate, but last Christmas, they're like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, my PJs are kind of getting raggedy. So I got like 10 pairs of PJ pants and I was ecstatic.
I would have been, yeah, that's the kind of gift that I get really excited about. So do you
It's
think you
funny because as
describe
kids, we're
your
like, ugh, clothes. Ugh,
clothes?
ugh. But now we're just like, yes, please. Can I also get like $50 for like
Mhm.
groceries or something? That'd be great.
Do you think that that would be like an apt way to describe the feeling of hanging out in your channel? It's like getting socks for Christmas and maybe a little bit of grocery money.
Yeah.
Scarlet
Uh,
Rose, socks for Christmas. It's so good. Okay. All right. So our beautiful mutual friend, Mel, whom many of you listening probably would know by the handle Raw Snacks, she recently submitted for approval a mental health panel for TwitchCon. It was looking real iffy there for a while, but it did
it
get
was.
approved. It did get approved just a
Um,
few days ago, right?
yeah, somebody dropped out because
Oh, okay.
apparently several others made the same kind of panel submission with the same idea, not so much
Okay.
like the same thing, but we all have like the same kind of idea of like how we deal with it as streamers.
Okay.
But then someone dropped out, and I guess we had the next best thing, so we got it. We
Right.
have a mental health and streaming panel for TwitchCon.
So there were quite a few people that were pushing for this kind of thing, right? Because I kind of
Yeah.
got the impression that it was something that could have very easily just not happened.
Yeah, and that was like I rose a little bit of a stink about it when because like I knew quite a few people that submitted these panels,
Hmm.
and all of them that I knew were denied. We didn't even know who got approved for something
Hmm.
like this. Like,
Okay.
we had no touch base on it at all. So we just all assumed the worst. It was like, okay, it all got denied. Something needs to be addressed here.
Right. Well, I
Um,
suppose that some people might think that, Twitch and these sort of organizations, they don't really have any, I guess, any obligation to be facing these kind of issues. And they're difficult things to talk about. And they do tend to create a little bit of, a bit of drama and a bit of heated discourse. So
yeah.
why do you think personally that it's so important that Twitch and perhaps other platforms begin to address mental health in this way?
Just going off of what we said earlier, in the entertainment business, you'll find it's prominent.
Hmm.
Usually the person that's making you laugh has gone through hell, so they know you need to laugh. I
Hmm.
mean, rest in peace. A very good example of this is Robin Williams.
Of course.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a
you
really
look
good
at
point.
him and everything he's done and his jokes and his movies, you look at him and you wouldn't think what he was going through at all.
Mm.
But you know, it's just what it was, that joke that he was telling about the Italian clown that went to see the doctor, and
Right.
he's like, "Doctor, I'm sad, I'm depressed, and frankly I don't want to live." And he's like, "Okay." Writes him down a prescription. He says, like, "Go see this clown, he'll make anybody laugh." And he's like, "But doctor, I am that clown." you know
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's a classic one, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because you say, like, looking at Robin Williams, like, a lot of people wouldn't have realized what he's going through. But at the same time, for someone who has been through that kind of thing, when you look at entertainers like that, it's really not that surprising when you find out the kind of demons that they're wrestling with, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's really not as surprising at all.
do you think that this panel, this project, is this for the benefit of streamers? Is it for the benefit of viewers, or is it something that can help everyone in the community?
Something, I think, in between. Though the title is mental health and streaming, it's how we cope with what we deal with on a daily
Hmm.
basis, and continue to still stream.
Hmm. Because
Um,
I've talked about this in previous episodes, but I feel like the way a lot of people approach their streamers, their sort of their local neighborhood streamer, is in much the same way that they sort of have a relationship with their hairdresser. You know what I mean? In the way they want to sort of
mm.
unload, they want to talk about their problems, they want to get things off their chest.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
I get
think
that a
that
lot.
do you think this could lead to any even like informal kind of awareness or training for streamers to be able to better, I guess, help people in the community?
Maybe. I don't really know. I'm not expecting a lot for the panel. Because for me, what I've always been about is realness and representation.
Hmm.
Because as someone with depression, as someone with anxiety, as an addict, as uh, a bisexual person, I strive to see representation in media, and
Hmm.
I saw something that needed to be filled, and that was that people weren't being too candidly honest about it because they were scared of losing viewers over it. And I'll
Okay.
be completely honest, I have lost viewers over it.
Okay.
There when oh god, what was there was an announcement that I made recently. Oh right, yes, on Twitter, is a big example. I suffer from what's called major depression disorder.
Yeah, I
And
saw
what
this
this
announcement.
means is, yeah, and what this means for your viewers is I occasionally get a suicidal thought. And that's just my normal. And I say that so simply because that's just what I deal with on a daily basis. I mean,
Hmm.
even yesterday for hiking, like my head was like, hey, you can throw yourself off this cliff. But obviously I'm not going to do that. I'm having a good time right now.
Right.
But when I became very open about that, instantly after that announcement, I lost 20 Twitter followers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I checked on my Twitch channel, and I had lost 30. I'd lost 30 followers after that announcement.
See, that's fascinating to me because I can't imagine the kind of people that would. I mean, who's going to be bothered by that? People might be thinking, "Oh, look at this person. Aren't they being dramatic? I don't need this in my life." But how many people are going to be like, "Oh, this person's suffering. No, fuck that. I want to follow them." screw them.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't, that
It
makes so
really
little
is a
sense to me.
phenomenon though, because I think a lot of what I go through is dumbed down by people like that and minimized to just being like an attention whore when
Right.
I'm as candid like that, because it shocks them that I can be just so casually say like, oh yeah, like I have thoughts that I want to kill myself, you
Right.
know.
Okay.
And I think that's shocking, and it kind of like ruins the illusion for some people. And you
Well,
know, if I'm not the streamer for them, I'm not the streamer for them, but that's just how I am.
I think everyone that assumes that streamers are attention whores, and to be fair, you know,
True. In some way, we kind of all are. I mean, you get a bunch of streamers in the room, and we're all talking over each other, trying to make jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are fighting for the center of attention, and
Right.
then that's perfectly okay. It's entertainment.
Okay.
That's what we're here for.
Sure. So when you
But
lose followers over things like that, what's your reaction? Does it bother you? Does it eat away at you? Or are you seriously just like, all right, well, screw them?
a little bit is like, oh well, okay. But then the resolve of like, well, if they're unfollowing me over something like that, fuck them.
Yeah, you probably don't want them in your community, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's not the community I want. I don't
Yeah.
want the people that aren't supportive, or when somebody does have a problem that comes into my chat, because often what happens is I do try to avert deep discussions like that out of my chat, because I still, for me, mostly I want streaming to be my escape.
Okay.
So when somebody does come into my chat with a problem like that, I'm like, hey, if anybody in chat wants to talk with this person off to the side, please raise your hand.
Sure.
And often they'll raise a hand, and then they'll get to talking and they'll feel better.
Great.
And when I talk to them when I can, but often there's a couple people that tend to get too attached. So I kind of try to offer simple, plain advice.
Right. Well, again, it's like being a hairdresser. You know, you can offer them advice and stuff like that, but you can't like take them home with you and, you know, make them a meal and kiss them goodnight. You know, you gotta.
Yeah.
You
can only do so much.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think there's anything we can do as consumers to promote and help these discussions? I guess get approved in places like TwitchCon, get into other public forums in the future?
A big example is showing up to the mental health panel, because like anything with being a consumer, your statement is where you put your attention and where you buy stuff.
Okay. Do you have some details where we can see that at TwitchCon yet? Has that been announced, or do we need to just listen out for that for the moment?
We'll know the schedules when it gets a little bit closer. It'll be on the TwitchCon official site usually, and they tend to announce it on their Twitch, Twitter, and social medias, and all that stuff. But just showing up, and if you don't have depression and you don't understand and you don't get it, because like he's still a friend. I just moved away from him. He was my best friend in Phoenix, but he was a normal person. He'd never suffered through anything like this at all. Yeah, like just your average person, but like really an amazing human being in general. But he had never been through this. So 1 month, I was trying my best to explain it. And I was like, just some days I simply just can't get out of bed. And he said something to the likings of, oh, I don't have that luxury. And I'm like, it's not a luxury, it's hell. I was mad at him for 2 months. And after that, he did some research. And it shocked me, like it really touched my heart.
Right.
That he realized that he had messed up so bad that he wanted to make amends. And he did some research on it. And the best thing you can do for someone if you're not depressed and you don't get it is to just listen. We're not looking for people to solve our problems. We have therapists for that. We know that most of it's in our head. We just need a shoulder, not a hand sometimes.
Okay.
And I think that's the most important thing, is just listen and be open.
Well, I like that. That's really touch, because that's honestly like the whole point of this podcast, is to bring up issues like this for people that might be having trouble either with them or trouble understanding them, and just, you know, hey, listen.
Yeah.
So hey, go. As soon as I was saying it, I was like, oh shit, that was an LV, wasn't it? So yeah, go check out the panel if you guys are going to be at TwitchCon. You can be absolutely sure that I'm going to be retweeting it. Scarlet's going to be retweeting it. Mel's going to be retweeting it. So if you follow any of us on Twitter, absolutely look out for that. Now, I understand, Scarlet, that you have a charity stream event coming up soon, sometime this month. Can you tell us a little about that?
It's still in the works, but I'm working with Tiltify because there's a certain way I want to do it, because it just really, with something like this, you want people to pick and choose their charities, because there's no like St. Jude charity for LGBT. And originally what had happened, and this is going off of also what had happened years ago when I was like a nobody streamer, and that F5 tornado hit Oklahoma. And like all of those families were ravaged and everything. I couldn't, like, there are just sometimes that things happen and I just can't sit around and do nothing. Like, I can't just give $5 and say a prayer. I can't.
Yeah,
personally
too
can't.
right.
I want to do something more. So I ended up, as a young caster, organizing a charity called Home Again Oklahoma, where I recruited, I think, 15 other broadcasters, and we had raised over $3,000 for the Red Cross specifically to go to the families in relief of those affected by the tornado.
Wow,
and going off of that, this is what this is about when the travesty at Orlando had happened.
Okay.
For those that are not in states, there was a mass shooting in Orlando at a gay club on Orlando Pride Day.
Yeah, no, we've heard about that here all around the world. Largest mass shooting in US history is really, really rough time.
And I got tired of seeing the hashtags, because often what happens is the hashtags make you feel like you're doing something, but you're not.
It's just tokenism.
You're really not. Yeah, it's just, oh, this can make me feel better because I did something, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. Thoughts and prayers only get you so far. What really needs to happen is action. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. We're doing Home Again Oklahoma again, except for LGBT. And we have a Discord, we're organizing, we're putting together names. So far, we were going to go off the hashtag Love is Love.
Okay.
Some really great ideas, but we're still currently recruiting. But what I want to do with Tiltify is have 3 separate charities, and people just pick where they go, and then we consolidate all of that just to see what we've raised in total across these things.
All right, that's fantastic.
I would have specifically done it for those affected, the families affected, but there was already a fundraiser for that, like a GoFundMe for that.
Yeah, there's been quite an outpouring of support for them, which has been really really nice to see, really heartwarming. Well, yeah, I think you're right, like in terms of, tweeting things in terms of social media. Solidarity, like, it is a wonderful thing, and it is it's a really nice thing to do, to sort of publicly say, hey, I feel awful about what happened, I'm sorry, all the love and support and stuff like that. But you really do at the same time, or at least you should feel compelled, if you have the means, to put your money where your mouth is, and do something to support these people. So that's wonderful.
Even if
I'm really
it's just something like doing a charity walk or something like that. Just something where you're actually taking action.
Okay. All right. Are there any other exciting projects coming down the pipeline for you?
Not currently. I am trying to get a rebrand in progress, and looking for a job outside Twitch, because sadly I don't make quite enough to live in Seattle just on Twitch, but a part-time job should do it.
Okay. All right, great. Is there anything you'd like to reiterate from our discussion? Any shout outs you'd like to give? Any maybe general advice for people that are wanting to start out or are starting out streaming and having trouble reconciling with mental illness?
Just take it easy. Go at your own pace. Don't ever do something that you might not be capable of. But at the same time, be brave, be daring. Don't be afraid to take risks.
Okay. All right. So, well, thank you very much, everyone. Check out Scarlet on twitch.tv/Scarlet0se. That's Rose with a 0. It'll be on screen here. And Twitter.
Fun fact: Scarlet0se without a 0 is a Christian rock band from the 80s.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was like a porn star or something.
No, but I have often been confused with the porn star or ex-porn star Mia Rose.
Oh God. Okay, well, there you go. Check that out as well if you like, guys.
Yeah, I mean, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, whatever gets you there. Follow Scarlet on Twitter as well. I think it's at Scarlet0se TTV.
Yes, I thought I was being so clever and original, but also someone stole the Scarlet0se with a 0, which I think it was me.
Yeah.
It was like an old, like when Twitter just became a thing. I was like, okay, I'll get it, but then I just I can't remember the email that I put it on or the password.
I've had that problem so many times where you go to like make a username for yourself on a website and someone's taken, you're like, that whore! Then you find out it was you like 4 years ago.
You're like, damn, I played myself.
Tumblr, I think you got a Tumblr, scarletRoseArts.tumblr.com. You do some doodles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I recently picked up charcoal drawings, and I haven't drawn anything since that damn owl because it's so good, and I'm mad at myself. It's so
good. It's really good. You need to do more of that.
So mad at myself because like I've set this expectation. I'm like, oh crap, I'm actually good. Wait, no.
You set the bar a little bit too high.
We're done.
I find that so often, like when you make something that's like really good, and you're just like, well, that's the peak of my achievements. I guess I need to find something else.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that's something that's recurring for me. Like if I find myself, I'm like, oh, I'm too good at this. Whoops. Time to self-destruct.
Scarlet, thank you so much for your time today. You've given us all a great deal to think about. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a blast.
All right. For those of you listening at home, thank you for joining us. We're on iTunes now. I've got a note here saying iTunes approval is pending, but we are on iTunes now. So check that out. You can search The Lucid Grind on iTunes. If you have any questions or thoughts about the show, do please leave a comment below. And if you would like to discuss potential future episodes on issues or stories that you think could be important or valuable to this project, you can reach me via Ethys, FFXIV, @gmail.com. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next episode. But until then, I'm your host, Ethys, and this is The Lucid Grind. Thanks for listening.